What the Mayans say is that we are about to go through a consciousness change, a change of great, I don't even know how to put this in human terms, but it is, we are about to become something brand new, a new species, a new way of perceiving the reality. And that's really what this show is about, is the this change in consciousness. When we look back at the ancient cultures, it becomes clear that we humans are now very different than we were, say, 2,000 years ago. That's pretty obvious. Not just our modern techno-toys, but different in how we perceive the very reality around us, what we think the reality is, and who we think we are within this. The Mayans say, however, that human consciousness evolution is timed to the cycles of time, similar to how DNA unfolds as it reaches certain chromosomes, and that we are now at this moment approaching a narrow point in time when human evolution speeds up tremendously and makes a jump into a new level of awareness. We become something greater than what is now called human. And the Sanskrit Vedas, written over 6,000 years ago, it speaks about this time we now live within. It talks about how we learn about electricity and magnetism, and that how we learn to fly in the sky with metal boxes. That's actually a quote. And then on a single day, the Vedas say, we give it all up. Much like a child as it grows older, it lets go of its teddy bear and reaches for a higher vision. We're about to do the same thing. From the Mayan point of view, high technology is not a sign of an advanced civilization. It is a sign of a civilization about to be advanced. What good is technology to a people if they discover that the human body and human consciousness is capable of doing everything that technology is now doing, and far, far more? This is what we are about to understand according to the Maya. First of all, the Maya people see and know the earth as a living being and conscious of everything that is occurring on her body. And further, the Maya see that everything in the heavens are living beings that interact with each other. We don't. We just see the earth as a rock. What science knows as fact is that about 13,000 years ago, there was a physical pole shift. They believe that Hudson Bay was the site of the North Pole before this axis shifted. Then a little less than 26,000 years ago, at exactly the very point we happen to be within at this moment in the precession of the equinoxes, the end of time, where we are right now, close to December 21st, 2012, the Earth's physical poles shifted a second time. And if that is not shocking enough, what science knows is that when the Earth's physical axis shifts to a new location, it only takes 20 hours, less than 1 day. This is not the Mayans saying this. This is the scientific world has documented this. You wake up one morning, and in a single day, your world is completely transformed. And the theory was this. There is a crust on the Earth. It's only 20, 30, 40 miles thick. It's not very thick. And underneath that is called the mantle. And there is an upper mantle, which is that connects the crust to the inner part of the Earth. And this upper mantle is made out of rock. However, what the scientists have discovered is that if the magnetic field of the Earth goes to zero, disappears completely, which is what they expect to happen very soon, then after about 2 weeks, this rock formation that is all around the Earth turns to a liquid. It's like oil. And so now the outer crust of the Earth is completely free to spin in any direction it wants. And so it would still take a great amount of energy to move that, but nothing like it would require to move the entire Earth to a new axis. And so how do I say this? What they believe is going to happen is you now go to the South Pole, and the ice on the South Pole is not perfectly centered. It's off-center. It's a massive amount of ice, miles, about 2.5 miles high or so. It's a huge amount of ice. In fact, if that ice were to melt, it would raise the oceans, the entire world's oceans, I believe, close to 200 feet. It's a lot of water. And so that mass, when the surface of the Earth, the crust of the Earth, is now free to rotate, it's off-center. And they believe it will move toward the center of balance, and when it does, the crust moves with it. So the world scientists have now calculated where they believe, they have predicted where they believe the axis of the Earth is going to go, which is almost identical to Edgar Cayce. Interesting enough. Edgar Cayce says it'll be 16 degrees into Russia in this particular place, and the mathematical scientists have calculated about 17 degrees into Russia, into almost exactly the same place. And so if it's true, we don't know, but this is a theory. Nobody has ever seen this happen. At least no modern man has. Now, the shifting of the poles of the axis, however it is to take place, it is this world that the Maya wish to speak to you about, for they know it well. They remember their past, and they remember both of these pole shifts that science has recorded in recent times. According to the Maya, they lived through both of them, and they have been on Earth for at least 26,000 years. Science cannot contradict that because they don't know where they came from and they don't know anything about them. But according to Don Alejandro, in the last pole shift, millions of people died simply because they didn't understand what was happening. If they only knew and understood the situation, they could have easily transformed their experience into something of strength and grace and beauty. But Don Alejandro says that if they don't understand what is occurring and enter into fear, they can easily die. And so he wants to talk to you about this. Don Alejandro also speaks about 30 hours of darkness that happens at this moment when the poles shift. There are some people out there, I'm aware, that speak about 3 days of darkness. The Mayans say no, it's not 3 days, it's 30 hours. He says that, Don Alejandro says, that everything goes black and one cannot even see the stars at night. Or in other words, we go blind. He says it is during this period that so many people died because of fear that entered into their experience. But he also says that if one were to not worry and simply stay still and just relax, everything returns back, your sight comes back, everything returns to normal, and it only takes 30 hours. So this is another thing that the Mayan people want you to understand is during this change, don't go into fear. It's nothing to be afraid of. But of course, after the pole shift, where you are located on the surface of the Earth is now probably completely different relative to the equator than before the shift began. You are now probably living in a new and different environment located on the Earth. And this must immediately be evaluated. You've got to figure out where you are, or you could die just from extreme cold or extreme heat. This is another thing he wanted you to know. Now, one piece of the Mayan prophecy that has been told, which the world calls doomsday, but there is something far more important. How do we understand how to be during a physical pole shift and directly afterwards? For the Maya, it is a vibration that comes from within your heart. And this vibration is in perfect resonance to the heart of the Earth, the heart of the sun, and the heart of the universe. If we learn to live within this vibration, the living Earth will make certain that we extend ourselves into the new world.